In January 1939, a 10-year-old boy named Edward Lavoie walked into the woods near Cannon Station, New Brunswick, and vanished. Just as he stepped onto his father's trapline, a brutal maritime blizzard began to tear across the landscape. Searchers who would later look for him described the storm's fury as something that simply erased the world. Within minutes, the trail Eddie was following disappeared under a blanket of swirling white. He was alone, lost, and the temperature was plummeting. All he had was a thin wool coat, a pair of mitts, and felt boots hardly enough to survive the -20-degree cold. But Eddie wasn't just any 10-year-old. He was a kid who had grown up in the woods, and he remembered the old lessons, the survival skills passed down through generations. As the first night fell, he found a dense stand of spruce trees. Using his mittened hands, he dug a hole in the deep snow beneath their protective branches, creating a small burrow. He pulled more boughs over top, fashioning a simple but effective spruce nest. That small shelter saved his life through the first freezing night. When morning came, the world was still a whiteout, but Eddie knew one simple rule of the forest: water always leads somewhere. He found a frozen brook and began to follow its winding path. For 2 long days he trudged onward, his small body fighting against the biting wind and relentless cold. He chewed on snow to fight off dehydration and scrounged for tiny wintergreen berries he found hidden under the snow's crust. It was barely enough, but it kept him moving. On the evening of the 3rd day, just as his strength was beginning to fail completely, he stumbled upon a miracle: an old, abandoned trapper's cabin. It was little more than a shack, but it was shelter inside. He found a rusty tin can and some dry birch bark, perfect tinder. Then he found something else, a discarded matchbook. He opened it with trembling fingers. Just one match was left. This was his only chance. He took a deep breath, steadied his hand, and struck it against the book. A tiny flame flickered to life. He carefully lit the birch bark inside the tin can, creating a small, contained fire. That single match, that tiny blaze, kept him from freezing to death through what would be the coldest night of the entire search. The next morning, as the fire died down to embers, Eddie heard a faint, rhythmic sound cutting through the silence of the woods. Thump, thump. It was the sound of an axe. A local farmer, out cutting firewood several miles away, paused between swings. He thought he heard something, a thin, weak cry on the wind. He listened again. There it was. Following the sound, he found the small cabin, and inside, a small frostbitten boy, too weak to stand, but alive. Eddie was rushed to a doctor, who confirmed that one more night in the cold would have been his last. His incredible story of survival became one of New Brunswick's most legendary winter tales. It serves as a chilling reminder of how quickly a maritime storm can turn deadly, but also as a powerful testament to how a little bit of old-fashioned knowledge can be the one thing that separates a tragedy from a miracle. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more true stories from history.